Virginia. You got to read the labels.
Yep.
Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Landon. Howdy, Lynn.
Hello.
Oh, good. We're muted. Or I'm muted. Should say I'm muted. All right.
Okay.
So we're continuing on in Deuteronomy tonight, and we're almost finished with it. Tonight we're going to do blessings and curses. We're going to start in Deuteronomy 28 and go through 29, 30, 31, and 32. But before that, if you don't have your own Bible right there, you can go to this link, KingJamesBibleOnline.org. There's a number of other places you can go. You can go to the Blue Letter Bible. They got all kinds of different translations to read there. But this is the one we're reading along, and make sure you click on the more modern version of it. Howdy, Alvina. Otherwise, you're going to be reading some Middle English. All right, let's go ahead and pray. Excuse me. Good evening, Father. Thank you very much for this ability to study. And I apologize for it being a day and an hour late. But do thank you for the opportunity for us to share your word with everybody that will join us. And we just ask that you bless them and us in this reading and let us get the lesson that you need us to get. And we thank you for that. In Jesus Yeshua's name, amen. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Keep up if you dare. All right. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall thou be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses and in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee. Verse 12. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto the land, unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kine, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. The Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make rain of the land, powder and dust from heaven. It shall come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. The ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shalt not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations of the Lord. Among all the nations whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shalt gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Verse 47. Because thou servedst not the Lord with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shalt not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustedst, throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate in his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward the son, and toward her daughter. Verse 57. And toward her young, one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them, for want of all things, secretly in the siege of straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues and of long continuance, and sore sickness and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldst not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that, as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good, and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you, and to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. And the Lord should scatter thee among all the people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, Would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, Would God it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
29. These are the words of the covenant of the Lord. These are the words of the covenant that the Lord commanded Moses to make with the people of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant that he had made with them at Horeb. And Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, You have seen all that the Lord did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land, the great trials that your eyes saw, the signs, and those great wonders. But to this day the Lord has not given you a heart to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear. I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes have not worn out on you, and your sandals have not worn off your feet. You have not eaten bread, and you have not drunk wine or strong drink, that you may know that I am the Lord your God. And when you came to this place, Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us to battle, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it for an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of the Manassites. Therefore, keep the words of this covenant and do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. You are standing today, all of you, before the Lord your God, the heads of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and the sojourner who is in your camp, from the one who chops your wood to the one who draws your water, so that you may enter into the sworn covenant of the Lord your God, which the Lord your God is making with you today, that he may establish you today as his people, and that he may be your God, as he promised you, and as he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. It is not with you alone that I am making this sworn covenant, but with whoever is standing here with us today before the Lord our God, and with whoever is not here with us today. You know how we lived in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the midst of the nations through which you passed. And you have seen their detestable things, their idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold, which were among them. Beware lest there be among you a man or a woman, or a clan or a tribe, whose heart is turning away today from the Lord our God to go and serve the gods of those nations. Beware lest these be among you a root bearing poisonous and bitter fruit, one who, when he hears the word of the sworn covenant, blesses himself in his heart, saying, I shall be safe, though I walk in the stubbornness of my heart. This will lead to the sweeping away of moist and dry alike. The Lord will not be willing to forgive him, but rather the anger of the Lord and his jealousy will smoke against that man, and the curse written in the book will settle upon him, and the Lord will blot out his name from under heaven. And the Lord will single him out from all the tribes of Israel for calamity, in accordance with all the curses of the covenant written in the book of the law, in this book of the law. In the next generation, your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a far land will say, when they see the afflictions of that land and the sickness that which the Lord has made it sick, the whole land burned out with brimstone and salt, nothing sown and nothing growing, where no plants can sprout, an overthrow like that of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in his anger and wrath. All the nations will say, why has the Lord done this to this land? What caused the heat of this great anger? Then people will say, it is because they abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt, and went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they had not known and whom they had not allotted to them, whom he had not allotted to them. Therefore, the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land, bringing upon it all the curses written in this book. And the Lord uprooted them from their land in anger and fury and great wrath, and cast them into another land that they are this day. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law.
Chapter 30. And it came to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, and the curse whither the Lord thy God has driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers, with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou may live. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that thou shouldest say, who shall go up to us for heaven and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea, that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. See, I have set before thee this day life and good and death and evil. In that I command thee this day to love the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes, his judgments, that thou mayest live and multiply. And the Lord thy God shall bless thee in the land, whither thou goest to possess it. But if thy heart turn away, so that thou wilt not hear, but shall be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that ye shall surely perish, and that ye shall not prolong your days upon the land whither thou passest over Jordan to go to possess it. 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursings. Therefore choose life, that thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land that the Lord swore unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them.
Deuteronomy 31. And Moses went and spake these words unto all Israel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also the Lord hath said unto me, thou shalt not go over this Jordan. The Lord thy God, he will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee, and thou shalt possess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as the Lord hath said. And the Lord shall do unto them as he did to Sihon and to Og, kings of the Amorites, and unto the land of them whom he destroyed. And the Lord shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them according unto all the commandments which I have commanded you. Be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. And Moses called unto Joshua, and said unto him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of a good courage, for thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord hath sworn unto their fathers to give them. And thou shalt cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee, he will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. And Moses wrote this law and delivered it unto the priests, the sons of Levi, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and unto all the elders of Israel. And Moses commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the feast of tabernacles, when all Israel is come to appear before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose, thou shalt read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Verse 12, Gather the people together, men and women and children, and thy stranger that is within thy gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn, and fear the Lord your God, and observe to do all the words of this law, and that their children, which have not known anything, may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, as long as you live in the land, whither ye go over Jordan to possess it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Behold, thy days approach that thou must die. Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the congregation, that I may give him a charge. And Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation. And the Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud, and the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. And the Lord said unto Moses, Behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured. And many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, Are not these evils come upon us because our God is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have wrought, in that they are turned unto other gods. Now, therefore, write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swear unto their fathers, that floweth with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves, and waxen fat, then will they turn unto other gods and serve them, and provoke me and break my covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness. For it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination, which they go about, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swear. Moses therefore wrote this song of the same day, and taught it the children of Israel. And he gave Joshua the son of Nun a charge, and said, Be strong and of good courage. For thou shalt bring the children of Israel into the land which I swear unto them, and I will be with thee. And it came to pass, when Moses had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book, until they were finished, that Moses commanded the Levites which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, saying, Take this book of the law, and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be there for a witness against thee. For I know thy rebellion and thy stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, ye have been rebellious against the Lord. And how much more after my death? Gather unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call heaven and earth to record against them. For I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you. And evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. And Moses spake in the ears of all the congregation of Israel the words of this song until they were ended. Landon? Landon?
Chapter 32. Give ear, O ye heavens, and I will speak and hear. O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, and the small rain upon the tender herb, and the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of the Lord, ascribe ye greatness unto our God. He is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment, a God of truth, and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do ye thus require the Lord, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he thy father that hath brought thee? Oh, that has bought thee. Hath he not made thee and established thee? Remember the days of old. Consider years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land, and in the waste, howling wilderness, he led him about. He instructed him, and he kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God in him. He made him ride in the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. And he made him to suck the honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock, butter of kine, and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats with the fat of kidneys of wheat. Thou didst drink the pure blood of the grape. But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat. Thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods, and abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very froward generation, children in whom it is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap mischiefs upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them. Thou shalt be burned with hunger, and devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without, the terror within, shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. I said I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, Our hand is high, and the Lord hath not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock has sold them, and the Lord has shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is the vine of Sodom, and the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me, and sealed up among my treasures? To me belongeth vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in the due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and things that shall come upon them make haste. For the Lord shall judge his people, and repent himself for his servants, when he seeth that their power is gone, and there is none shut up or left. And he shall say, Where are their gods, their rock, in whom they trusted, which did eat the fat of their sacrifice, and drank the wine of their gift offerings? Let them rise up and help you, and be your protection. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven, and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and mine hand take hold of judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain, and of the captains, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemies. Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and he will be merciful unto his land and to his people. And Moses came and spoke all the words of this song in the ears of the people, he and Hosea the son of Nun. And Moses made an end of speaking all these words to Israel, and he said unto them, Set your hearts to all the words that I testify among you this day, which ye shall command your children to observe to do all the words of this law. For it is not a vain thing to you, because it is your life, and through this thing ye shall prolong your days in the land, whither ye go over Jordan to possess it. And the Lord spake unto Moses that selfsame day, saying, Get thee up into this mountain, Abram, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho, and behold the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel for a possession. and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be gathered unto thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered up to his people. Because ye trespassed against me among the children of Israel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin, because ye sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Israel. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not go thither into the land which I give the children of Israel.
Wow.
Is right.
Okay. Let's go back.
In the beginning, the Lord created the no.
Okay, so chapter 28. I was reading, so I didn't get any notes. What do you got?
28. Oh, wait, I'm looking at 27. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I thought the brat. Well, oh wait, do you have anything before 23?
Just the big thing I got out of it. There's an awful lot of ifs, lot of conditional clauses in those promises there. If you keep my laws, if you keep my commandments, then these blessings. If you don't, then these curses.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's definitely a common. I'm just thinking about the people that can't handle success, myself included. So we're at least in my past. When just everything's going right and wonderful, it's and you forget who blessed you with it.
Right? And didn't we just read that too previously? That once you start getting all these fruits and blessings and milk and cattle, you're going to forget.
You do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
So I thought the brass and iron thing was interesting.
The brass sky and iron earth.
Right. I guess that. Attack. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of I don't have an answer for it, but it kind of jumped at me. Like
Well, basically telling them it ain't going to be raining.
oh, I get it. He means like literally. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. Like yeah.
Yeah. So, well, when you dig dirt in the desert, you'll understand. But yeah, what else? Anything else on there? It's interesting that the curses are the reverse of the blessings.
Right.
Right. So, example, your enemies. If you're following my commandments, your enemies will come at you one way and flee 7 ways before you. But if you don't, you're going to go at your enemy and flee 7 ways before them.
Right.
That's just an example. I mean, all of them are like that too.
Right. Right. Seem like you won't lend to your like your captives, but or your sojourner, but they'll lend to you. That yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, it's most interesting.
36. I was just thinking of Kenya.
Thinking of what?
Kenya?
Kenya?
Yeah. Bringing I don't know, just picking a random country, like bringing a leader from another
Right.
country.
Well, it can be. It's interesting that it likens the one nation to an eagle. Swift as the eagle flieth, verse 49. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. And that eagle has been passed down, right? Because it started with the Roman legions having eagles.
Mm-hmm.
But that eagle has been passed down from, and it originally started in Egypt, I guess, but it's been passed down from empire to empire to empire to empire.
Yeah. And even on the other side of the world, that so-called empires weren't conquering at the time.
Right?
But I don't know a whole lot of that, different tribal histories in early America, but
Yeah, look at Chad Schaefer's channel, right? He's got real good studies on that. Really very informative.
Yeah, need to.
Let's go to 29. Now this I got notes on. I got a question. So verse 1. What does your translation there say?
These are the words of the covenant that the Lord commanded Moses to make with the people of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant that he had made with them at Horeb.
So is this the second covenant?
Besides,
A second equal covenant?
I don't know.
Yep, I agree, Chance. If everybody that's watching this sends me $5, I can shave my mustache off and mail it to Chance, so we can get some facial hair back on him. I'm teasing you, brother.
Matt shaved, and I said, "So you think you can chance?" And nobody got it.
All right. But yes, that is great, awesome work there. So I don't know. I need to do some more studying on that. I don't have anything until 15 after that.
What? Why'd you ask me with my first? Oh, because if it's a new covenant, all right.
Well, yeah. Is it? It sounds like a second covenant, like the one made at Mount Horeb.
Right. And he just didn't come all blazing thunder because they were scared.
Hi. Say hi and go back. All right, go.
Bueno.
I have something for. Well, I've got 12 highlighted, but it's highlighted in, I don't know,
I'm sorry, which one?
a piece of 11, and then it skipped some of it, and then 12. But I had highlighted it on a different,
Different study?
maybe I was going through something, and it was like, because I've got half of 11 highlighted, some missed, and then some of 12. I don't know.
Okay. Let me know if you figured it out. Verse 15, I find that interesting every time. Right? Starting in verse 14, neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day. Now, isn't this, right, if we go back a couple of chapters, didn't he have all Israel there? 6 tribes on one mountain, 6 tribes on another mountain with the Levites in the middle?
Hmm.
It's very interesting.
So who's not there? us. We weren't there.
Oh, well, I mean, I know that. I thought we meant.
Or does that mean direct bloodline descendants from them?
No.
Or does it mean something else?
That
Nope. This one. There we go. Looking forward to it, brother. All right. So what else? What else we got in 29? 29.
18. Why did I write down 18? Hang on.
Man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turneth away this day from the Lord our God to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and bitterness.
I'm doing that jumped out at me because I'm working on a study. And, in the beginning of it, he's kind of introducing the characteristics of the enemy, and it's like the guy that's doing the study describes it as when he went from that holy, cherubim to having that inward change in that instant, and that was forever, and he was no longer. But it's almost like tearing the roots off, and it was so interesting that I was looking at that earlier, and he probably explained it a little bit better, but it was like just completely separating himself from the Father. And I was thinking how it's time doesn't work in the heavenlies the same way that we perceive it here, and it made me think of that because that was fresh in my mind. So, but because it describes it as roots being root bearing poisonous and bitter fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see that today. You sow poison and you will reap it.
Did you just call my name? No. Yeah, I had 19 down. But that whole thing, 18 and 19, doesn't that sound like, today? It does.
Well, I certainly used to have that attitude. Right? And it came to pass when he heareth the words of this curse that he blessed himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst.
Self-delusion.
Yeah, it is self-delusion, right? Because, I've made all kinds of loopholes, Well, according to this law of man, I'm not guilty.
Go to church on Sunday, be blessed.
Yeah.
Right.
But, it kind of reminds me, there's a line in a children's movie, Ratatouille, where he's talking about his mom dying, and he says, but she believed in heaven, so that's good, right? It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Right? Just gives you a touchy-feely, a warm, toasty feeling. Oh, I wish this warm, toasty feeling was a little warmer. Let's turn the heat up.
Got to melt that peanut butter.
Right? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then, what else we got? Anything else in 29?
I think that's interesting about Sodom and Gomorrah.
Right.
And those other towns where they're just nothing grows there now, and it still doesn't grow there.
Right.
Be interested to know what they got to, well, if there's nothing new under the sun, it's got to be, LA, New York, New Orleans, or whatever. But I always tried to imagine in my mind like boots on the ground, the different pictures of the different cities, and we know about the violence and the corruption. You know, so there's a story there. But,
Okay, thank you.
I don't know. I'd just be interested to know what what the people would answer.
Oh, that's so sad there, GR.
Oh, yeah. And did it my way.
You know, actually, I was watching these dudes. It's kind of funny you mention that, and there's a total detour. But I was watching this panel of black men talking about how they really feel they're being done one over because agitators turning protests into riots. And one of them was saying, "What are you doing, man? You're destroying your community because these people come in and say, hey, let's make them suffer. And all you're doing is destroying your friends and family."
Mm-hmm.
He said he talks to them and they say, we're keeping it real. He says, so if you get shot by the police, is that what they're going to put on your gravestone? I was keeping it real. You know, kind of goes with that same thing, GR, though. I did it my way.
I seen a mama beat her son in public for throwing a brick.
All right, let's go to 30 because that's where my notes keep going. That's where I have notes from.
Sit.
30. Huh, okay. I don't have anything until 9. Got anything before that? Let me know. But this in 9, and the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand. Every work of thine hand means, you know, you met these people that just everything they touch, you know, worldly they say, oh, he's got the Midas touch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything he does turns to gold. And, you know, that I don't think is what it should be, but it should be like this. You know, if you are walking with Yah the Father in Yeshua, Jesus, properly, right? Not in my own way, not leaning into my own understanding, then everything you do should be blessed. Everything you put your hand to. The issue I have is ignoring all the chatter coming in from everywhere else. Right? It's coming in. No, you got those imaginary conversations going on in your head.
Yes.
And when you have them actually in real life with the person you were thinking about having them with, it doesn't go anything like you thought it would. It's like, oh, wow, boy, I was stressing out and worrying over nothing.
But then we might not consider everything that we do for God. Like, because sometimes we do this thing where we step outside His will. He's not, like, it's not going to be like that Midas touch saying. He's going to be like, no. You know?
Right. Well, you know what? Talk to Jeremiah about being in God's will, because he's got a really interesting take on it, and I mess it up. But next time you talk to him, just ask him about it. Don't be wrong. Because when he explained it, I was like, whoa.
The way he does.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You know, we can still mess up, but you're you can only go so far in your mess up because of the boundaries of where his will is. His willer? Where his will is? Okay. I got plenty of sleep last night. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Anyways, I guess that's it. Oh, no. I got nothing until 19.
God bless you.
If you got something else in here.
Mm,
And I bring this up quite often. Chance. I don't know. It depends. They were imaginary if you couldn't hear the voices. If you could hear the voices, they were hallucinations.
Either way, it's not very good.
All right. So in 19, verse 19, once again, we have heaven and earth being called to record against you. Right? So we got that heaven and earth. Remember a couple of studies back when I was making a big deal about it, about heaven and earth to be a witness against them.
mhm. The rock will cry out against you. I mean, I think of the animals that I can see just because I've seen all the like human characteristics of bird conversations or when there's drama, the way that the other, but even the rocks. Crystal emits a frequency when you put pressure on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, could you hear the birds freaking out when I was reading that last chapter? When I was doing the last part of the reading?
Right.
I was like going to look out there and see if they were like under cat attack. Hang on, I'll be right back. But I didn't want to upset Miss Alvina. So, yeah, they were going to town.
Well, just a sidebar to clear it, is that I think did I speak with you about that? My experience in two different occurrences. I was getting out of work and getting out of the car at work and walking through the parking lot, and there were these little birds fighting over one piece of bread, and there's other pieces of bread in the parking lot. And they were, but the other ones were watching them and they were chirping at one another. And then there was another time I was walking under some oak trees and two birds were fighting, and the other birds were just sitting there like they were hyped up, and you could tell it was full conversation. Like he hit him with the left wing, like, and I was just like, even birds like drama. No,
They were in bird language. They were going, fight, fight, fight.
That's what they were doing.
Yeah. All right, let's go to 31. Again, I didn't take any notes because I was reading. So whatever you all noticed.
I don't have anything till 26.
I have 6 highlighted because that's very
26?
very encouraging. Very encouraging.
Yeah.
But it's also like the what's predecessor's not the real word. Yeah, I think there's another if there. Like it doesn't say it in there, but it's like if you obey all these commandments, you should be strong and courageous and don't fear or be in dread of them. For it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you.
Yep. And that's repeated. Be strong and of a good courage. It's repeated over and over.
Needed to hear it.
Yep. Oops. There we go. I went to click on that, and then it scrolled and went brrrt, and I clicked on something else. Okay. So where was yours, Lynn?
26.
26.
I find that they didn't just put it in the ark, they put it in the side of the ark. Why didn't I never notice that before? Side of the ark.
Yeah, so the covenant is in the ark,
But
in the
it's-
book of the law, in the side. Right? Kind of like those little side pouches on your backpack.
Yeah. So that's great. That's wow. Like it already had a little pocket for it, when they built it. It
Right.
automatically had the pocket.
I find that quite interesting.
And so this song, am I in the right chapter? Am I in the right chapter? Wait.
I don't think it actually gives us the words of the song until the next chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we can go there if you want. So 32.
Only if everybody else is done with 31. Gwen.
Hey, nobody's saying anything, so you got to be on it. Got to be on it. But we're going to be coming back around to this eventually at some point. So, and everybody's going to say, "I never saw that before." Okay. So this.
Oh, I don't have anything.
Actually, I got verse 4. And it jumped out at me. He is the rock. His work is perfect. Right? But I guess, is that the first place where it's ascribed to Yah being our rock?
Is that the first place?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You're asking somebody that can barely remember her name sometimes. So.
That's okay, Cindy.
Oh. Wow. I'm going to have to look that up because.
That, if we go on to 13, what is this oil from flinty rock?
I know.
Did you get that too?
Slate is oily. I know that slate rock is oily.
Right?
Oil from flinty rock.
Yep. That makes me, that's how Germany got a lot of fuel in World War II, was compressing coal.
Coal is flinty rock?
Well, it makes me wonder. That's what I'm asking. Did they know about this? I'm sure they did. It's not like we just discovered it.
Right?
So,
Flinty rock.
yeah, I think that's very interesting.
Sorry, I was gonna say I think John Rockefeller might have got drugged to church as a kid one time.
Said, there's oil on them there rocks. It's a interesting bit of trivia, but you know how he started his wealth? John Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller.
Oh. Hemp.
Nope. He is the guy that invented tanker cars for trains.
Oh.
Before that, they just used to fill up a car, an open car, with oil, and they'd slosh 2/3 of it out in transport. He's like, hey, why don't we just make a closed container?
You think we could put a top on that thing?
So then, because he patented that, he didn't sell them to anybody. He made them lease it. And then he leased it to them at such high prices that eventually they'd lose their business and he'd buy up their oil business. That's how he became an oil tycoon.
What a schmuck.
Yes, that's correct, GR. Coal oil.
Cool oil. Maybe that's what it's talking about.
You can find articles on gasification of coal or videos on it, how to do it. It's an interesting process. And Buddy Holly's back.
Buddy Holly.
Yep. Or one of the crickets.
There's somebody in my house.
I don't have anything after that until 31. And again, it's back to the rock. For their rock is not as our rock.
It was 13 you were talking about, right?
Yeah, oil from flinty rock.
Yeah.
What does it say yours?
Honey.
Well,
Honey.
honey too.
Yeah, no, sorry. It says oil out of plenty rock, and honey out of the rock.
Honey out of.
Okay, and he ate the produce of the field, and he suckled him with honey out of the rock and oil out of the flinty rock.
See, there it makes it sound like it's something edible.
I don't know. I'm looking at Flinty, and it just says, I'm looking in the Strongs, and it says
Flint.
Flint, rock, probably in the sense of hardness. And then under rock, it's like properly a cliff or sharp rock as compressed. So what are you sucking out of the rock there? I want to know what kind of oil you're getting out of a rock.
You gotta run the AutoZone.
What is it? The Chariot Zone?
Well, they're also saying that flinty means from or out of, above, after, among, at, from.
I hate it when they do that.
I know, because that doesn't tell me what flinty rock is.
What I do is I just try to focus on the words that are just in italics.
Okay, min.
Because those are the primary translations.
Min, mini, and mini. Min. Minne.
Is that the Hebrew word?
Yes, yes.
And then when you get into the definition, what are the italic words?
For flinty, the italic words are part, properly a part of, is part is italics. Prepositionally, from or out of. Those are the ones in italics.
Do.
And the rock is a tsor. Cliff. A sharp rock as compressed. And rock or boulder, refuge. Edge as precipitous. Mighty, God, one.
So that makes me wonder, because it's those two words, right? 4480 and 2496. But from or out of, and then hardness or flint. And then that word that it comes from, properly meaning to bind or make plump. All right.
Okay, that's going to bug me now.
All right, that's your assignment for the next one.
No, yes, thank you. Okay, I'll do my best.
Oops. And then I don't have anything for quite a ways until 47. Unless you've got anything in between there.
Hey, can you keep that a little bit lower, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a cricket, it's a game.
Now Jonathan's got the cricket.
Yeah, I got the cricket. How'd you get that cricket? Well, I bent over to pick something up and it was too heavy.
Cricket named George.
I got this cricket in my neck. Okay.
32 is interesting how he says, I'm just going to scatter you all over the place.
Right?
And this is what's going to happen to you because you're going to forget about me.
In what verse?
Well, pretty much all the whole chapter 32 when he gets in there with
Oh.
20 and etc. And then he's just going on about this is what's going to happen.
Now,
And more imaginations in the chapter 40.
verse 40.
Yeah, vain imaginings.
And where?
It's verse 40. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever.
Oh, okay. I was looking for the word imagination.
Or is that Abba speaking? Oh, that might be Abba speaking.
Yeah, that's him saying.
Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna just.
What jumped out at me, right? Because so many people say if you are trying to repent using the law, using the Torah as a guide, right? Oh, you're just being vain. You're trying to establish your own righteousness. But verse 47, for it is not a vain thing for you. And this follows right after.
Mm-hmm.
He said unto them, set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which you shall command your children to observe and do all the words of this law, for it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life. And through this thing you shall prolong your days in the land, whether you go over Jordan to possess it. And that's the same thing, right? Yeshua himself said to repent from sin, to turn from it. And if John tells us that sin is transgression of God's law.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're repenting from sin, it's not just, well, I was doing some bad stuff.
I wonder how long it took for us to develop that concept as the body of Christ, because being taught that it was just the 10 Commandments, but no, that's Old Testament too. So
Right.
where do you go? Where do you get to pick and choose which parts of the law? 'Cause
Only one thing smells like bacon, and that's Landon's breath. No. I know your breath doesn't smell like bacon.
no. Just like love.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Chop? Get him.
Chopping. He's chopping.
Oh, bite his nose. Get his nose.
I've been home half the day. He's acting like he ain't seen me.
Right?
Dinner time. What's dinner time for mine?
I think he knows what I'm doing. That's what it is. He's like, cameo.
All right. Well, anybody else got something? Anybody else got nothing? Did everybody buy their tickets for the concert?
What concert?
I don't know. I thought maybe you were going to tell me there was some cool concert. Oh, yeah, I got my tickets.
Yeah. I'm in it. 10 hours of yodeling.
Oh.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know if the singing was that good, but we sure sold a lot of Swiss Miss.
And marshmallows.
And marshmallows. Yep.
Because if you want to break up a crowd of violent people, just a sound system. And I've looked it up. They have YouTube. It's just 10 hours of straight yodeling.
No.
Right?
Punishment.
That does exist.
I like dueling. Come on, we all like it, but not 10 hours, maybe 15, 20 minutes. That's enough.
I can handle it for a few seconds. The only reason I know there are 10 hours of it is because I have access to the comms unit for the warehouse. And I was like, on a Saturday. And I was like, yeah, maybe.
GR, is that young kid that does that country music yodeling?
Yep, he
Is
is.
it?
Yes. Yes, he was fantastic. Mm-hmm.
My understanding is that was developed so that they could call their cattle across the mountains.
Across the mountains, yep.
And then what's that whistle language from the Canary Islands?
There's a whistle language?
Yep.
Hmm.
But it's like sorry, I forget what it is. Something like it's the in the Guinness Book of World Records as the language or form of communication among humans that can be heard the furthest distances or something, person to person. So like person in a village on this mountain would just whistle the news across the canyon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pucker up, it's news time.
Yeah. Who knows if you go over there and do like what we call a fox whistle, it could be saying, I lost my toothbrush or something like that.
And so you said that's the Canary Islands?
Yeah, it's in the Canary Islands, I believe.
That's interesting because we have our little canaries and they have their little songs and whistling and all that.
Right?
So I'm wondering if they picked it up from their little canary friends and Canary Islands and all that, you know.
I don't know. Well, you're from here. Didn't you all used to do the whistling across the neighborhood and stuff?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, when we did ditch them and stuff, we had our little codes and signals.
Right. Well, better leave somebody behind with Alvina so she can call us all to dinner.
We'll just get her one she can blow into it and make, ooh, you know.
Right? We'll get you a kazoo.
There you go.
Vuvuzuela.
All right. Let's let these kind people get on with their evening. And I apologize for being late and a day late and an hour late. That I was battling with a food allergy that I was ingesting. I was ingesting something I knew I was allergic to for a week before I decided to read the ingredients list. But it just goes to show you can't let up on any of this. You gotta look into everything. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a metaphor for everything. You can't just let something slip by. Because then the next thing you know, we're not going to discuss where that allergy went. So anyways, I love y'all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Landon. Thank you, Lynn. And we will see you. I think we'll stay on schedule. We'll be back tomorrow night. So love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye. Bye.